If you want to stay with somebody who views you as less of a human being, and if it's worth it, that's up to you. But I do think it does depend. It's a case by case situation because if you are financially dependent, get you some coin first. Why not? Rob them blind.
Yes, I'm always in favor of robbing men.
Hello, 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 y'all. Welcome back to the Freedom Collective podcast. Y'all, again, I'm just so happy that we're building this collective. Please continue to tune in, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. I see all the love. I appreciate all the interacting. And I'm just so honored because today we have one of my favorite mutuals that I've been mutuals with for like since ever. Oh my God. I have the legendary, the iconic, the wonderful, the very beautiful Eve. Please welcome first, but introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, this is Adam and Eve. You can call me Evie. I don't know what to say. You might have to
Don't
retake
make me gas you up. Activist, organizer, icon, legend, social commentator.
Yes, and this is new news to everybody. Filmmaker that's coming soon.
Ooh. Oh. Okay, the girls are at it. Okay, I'm just like so happy to have you here. Honestly, we've been following each other for like over a decade at this point. It's been so long, and I'm thankful that you decided to step off your throne, okay, to come down here and meet with me today. And I'm just excited for the people to get to know you a little bit more. You're like such a wonderful person, and I need everybody to be hip. And you don't play. Okay, that's one thing I love about you too. But we get started here with the intake segment, and today's intake question is going to be what's something that has been a source of excitement for you lately in life? Feel free to answer in the audience. For the audience, anybody listening, you can answer in the comments if you want to, or write it in the journal.
Something that's been exciting in my life.
A source of excitement.
Sure. Well, we've been having some. Actually, that is a good question. It's hard to kind of pick out one thing because I've noticed I'm just generally kind of bubbly anyway. So I kind of feel like I take joy in like a lot of things. Like I'm like, oh, one of the things that is so random, but like just gives me all the life. It's like, when you open, when you're going somewhere, you open the door and like that breeze like comes through and like you get guys, I feel so kind. And that happens every day. So it's like just the little things like that. But as far as bigger things, my dad has been having some health issues and he finally came home from the hospital and he is making so much progress. Like every day is something like he can walk a little better, he can sit up a little bit. Like it's really been like sitting on my heart for a while that like, wow, like you're making it. Yeah.
Shouts out to dad. I know you're really close with your dad too, so that's really great to hear. I'm glad he's feeling better. As for me, something that's been super exciting. So, one of my New Year's resolutions, which I've been like kind of crushing them, I've been like knocking out resolution after resolution. Like, one of my New Year's resolutions was starting a podcast, and here I am. I don't know, it's doing pretty good. So, like, and it's building, of course, but it's doing pretty good. So that's one thing off my list. But another one is taking classes every month. I have like been trying to like dedicate myself to it, and it's been super exciting. I've taken some sewing classes so far, but I actually just came from yoga. So I've been one of the classes I'm taking now is yoga, which is intense as hell, child. They had me in there bent up like a pretzel and I would do it 1,000,003 times more. That was really exciting. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. One thing I really want to do is I want to do like those strip aerobics classes or like you can do the pole dancing and you can do all of that stuff. I really want to learn how to do all that stuff. Well, relearn.
I've done pole dancing. Pole dancing classes are fun, but you know what? Them poles hurt. I don't think people know that. Like you gotta grip the pole with your skin. So shouts out to strippers. Shouts out to all my strippers out there listening. And I know y'all are here because the girls love me and I love the girls. Shouts out to the strippers and all my SWs, y'all. I see y'all. We see each other. Okay. wild way to start this episode. But also, before we even get into the next segment, you look really nice. If you're listening, you got to go over to the YouTube. Subscribe to that, by the way. But you got to go over to the YouTube because Eve is looking nice. Okay, you're looking amazing. You're glowing
Yeah.
and everything.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been practicing makeup like
This
literally
is
every day.
practice.
Yeah, well, like because newer in my transition, so like I hadn't really been doing like full faces, so like I really had to like practice to do this, do that, and then once I got my FFS, like it's a whole new face now, so I can't paint the same way that I painted before, and so like it's really been a journey. But like makeup is something that I really love. Like I love trying new things. Um,
Girl, you're doing it because it looks really, really nice. I would have thought that was a professional beat. It is a professional beat. Y'all gotta go to the go to YouTube because the Yeti sitting up and everything. You look good, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, transitioning into our second segment, which is the journey. This is where we get to know each other a little bit more. I want you to share as much as you feel comfortable sharing about yourself, but also talk about any issues or anything that you want to speak on happening in the world. It's all up to you. It's your choice because it is your journey. But I'm going to kick it off with a question. My question for you is, what is one of the moments where one of the more pivotal moments in your life where you realized that your mental health was important to you?
Right, sure. So for me, decided to transition has been really one of those things where was like I need to come back to myself. One of the earliest memories that I have was like just straight. I didn't know what trans was or anything like that, but I was 3 or 4 years old, and I just told my parents like I'm a girl, so like that's what it is. I wanted a Barbie doll. We were in a store, asked for a Barbie doll, and they were like, "That's a girl toy," and I was kind of like, okay, so give me the toy. I don't know what the fuck that's for. And after like that journey of like, being told like you're not, and then like having to, them trying to instill, not just them, but just society at large, trying to
Yeah.
instill this like man into me, I never felt great about it. And when I finally transitioned a few years ago, well, when I finally started my medical transition and everything, I kind of realized that at first I thought like, oh, I'm changing, but like I realized like I'm changing back to
Mm.
like who I was already, and that's felt really good.
That's amazing.
How
You
about you?
have really supportive parents too, right?
They are now. It was a journey. They're in my corner now.
Right.
I so grateful for that.
Oh my God, I'm so curious, like, because I know coming like to the conclusion, like, oh shit, I'm trans. Like those moments where you have like those like epiphanies where you're realizing like the things about yourself that you know, and it happens even beyond just transness, right? When you're like, oh shit, like it's like the aha moment. Do you remember where you were, or like one of the moments where that first happened for you?
When I first realized that I was trans,
Yeah. Are we allowed to ask that question?
yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I didn't really know what trans was.
Yeah.
The way that I saw it was just like I'm a girl. Like, I just knew I was a girl. Whenever they meaning just anyone, teachers,
Yeah.
mates, family, whenever they would try to like assign things to me, to do, I was not having it. I wasn't anything that seemed boyish, like adjacent. I was like, nah, like we're not doing that. I had to kind of go back through this process that I feel like I could have just cut out a whole
Yeah.
we could have saved a lot of time, really. But going through like, oh, I'm gay, and then I'm not gay, and then like finally landing back here was kind of when I understood, like, okay, this now I understood it as like, okay, this is trans. But like the way that I'd always seen it was just that like I was a girl and was derailed from like who I was.
Yeah.
Well, and then I got back to so and now like I'm feeling more secure and more confident than really I've ever been. And we're just so glad that I took that leap.
I don't think a lot of people understand, right, who don't grow up in like multi-marginalized experiences, like not just like marginalized, because that and no, don't get me wrong, that sucks too. but multi-marginalized experiences, like being Black and being queer and being trans, like, right? Those things in tandem with one another, I don't think a lot of people understand like how it like robs you of years of your life, and having to perform like to these societal standards really it can rob people of life. That's why like a lot of queer people, like when they're older, they have like the second puberty, where it's like, okay, we didn't really get to live our lives as teens. We had to like live in these boxes to check off what it is that the people around us wanted and society expected from us. And then when we're finally free from those limitations, those chains, it's really like not only is it just like freedom, but it's also a lot of emotional development that you have to do on the back end. Like, and I feel like this is like, because I came out when I was 19,
Yeah.
a sissy to everybody watching. If you did not know that I'm a sissy, yes, I am a sissy. Shouts out to the girls. But like when I came out, like I started dating, it was so hard for me because I was just so so green, and I did not get the chance to like properly explore like what it's like to date and interact with people romantically without the confines of like having to hide or deny yourself. And a lot of people get that like earlier on in life. And when you come out, really, like it's like, damn, it's like you have to start over from scratch. With that being said, how's dating and going about that been for you since transitioning? I'm like asking a Wendy. I feel like Wendy Williams right now because Wendy will ask that question.
Right. Right. I'm like, how you doing?
Clap if you're dating.
It's been it has been honestly like night and day. It has been and it was different in ways that I just haven't expected. So this isn't particularly like dating, but like it's just ride with
Life.
me. So 2023, like summer 2023. So I got my surgeries in 2022. 2023, I'm still new to this like body, this face. You know, I don't look that different, but still. And I go visit my friend in Harlem. Shout out ZA. I go to stay with her for a few days. And when I get there, like I had been delayed because there had been some like storms or whatever. So I got there at night. She lives in Harlem. And so when I get there, it's just like niggas, like all on this dude. And my immediate like just like trauma response is like, oh my God, they're gonna call me a faggot. Like, oh my God, like this and that.
No,
You know, because I just hadn't been this for a while. So when I got out of the car, I kind of realized like, oh no, like they're like they all stopped and they look. I'm like, oh no, is this? Side note: when I drive long distances, I usually wear like a mini, like a dress, usually a mini dress, and I wear heels because like it's easy to like when you have the heel like set on the thing, you can just kind of swivel your foot instead of having to pick it up and do this. It's just easier. So I get out of the car, dress,
didn't know
heels,
that.
and I go to the stoop with my bags, and one of them like just jumps up and he's like, "Oh, like I'll help you." And I thought he meant like just across the threshold. She lives in a walk up six on the sixth floor.
My goodness. A sixth floor walk up. Jesus.
And he was like, "No," he was like, "No, like I'll bring your stuff upstairs." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's so nice." We go upstairs. He's walking like behind me, and I realized in hindsight he could totally see my dress, but like get upstairs, go to the get to my friend's apartment, and the guy's just kind of lingering at the door for a minute, and I'm like, oh, like he wants
He wanted a
money.
piece. No, he wanted a
No,
piece.
that didn't occur to me at first. Like I was like, oh, he wants money. Like I thought it was kind of like a squeegee man thing. So I reach in my bag and I give him $1. That's the only cash that I had, and he looked like confused. Dollar, and he was like, oh, oh, like you know, like what you doing tonight? And I was like, That that's what it is. And luckily my friend kinda, like, cut it off, like, I wasn't, ready for all that. Yeah, so, like, that's kinda one of the things that, like, navigating in this new experience, it has been a lot of, like, night and day scenarios where I have to kinda, like, reevaluate, like, "Okay, this is where I am now in the world, and this is how men treat me." Like, I go from I'm sorry, this is gonna be long-winded. I'm very long-winded.
No, please take your time. Preach, preacher.
I think one of the main differences in like as far as dating and everything like that goes is like I'm dealing with straight men now,
Yes.
almost entirely straight men. And before it
For
was
that I am sorry.
no child, let me tell you. But like now it's like I'm living like the straight like men approach me like everywhere. And that didn't happen before, because like gays couldn't do that, and so now it's like at the grocery store, we're just where I'm at, like niggas is hollering. Like, not trying to brag, but
No, brag.
but
Put them on notice.
but it's so different because now like there are rules. Like, I feel like in gay world, things are a lot freer because, like, there's not those, like, societal constraints, like, where you have, like, "I'm dating to marry, we're gonna have kids, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do
Oof.
that, family," all of a sudden and now, like, those things are in place, so I have to learn how to, like, navigate those kinds of rules and things, and then there's disclosure.
Mm,
So, I kinda do more than I think I should have to do. My rule is if a man approaches me in public, I won't say 100%, but like 99.999%, even if he's the finest this one time, oh my God, this like 6'5".
oh, Lord, what you gonna do with all that?
And I was like, remember the rules, remember the rules. If I'm approached in public, I turn them down. But like if they approach me online where I can tell them I'm trans and we can have all that, then we can have that conversation. But I always like turn down men if they approach me in public because of that. And I might kind of start rolling that back, but we'll see. Because like I don't think that we owe that to people. And I'm not going to operate on the assumption that people don't want me. Like it's not my job to figure out why you want to fuck me.
That's tea. No, I 100% agree with that too. Like, it's like, and I guess this is going to be the more controversial statement. I don't believe it's up to trans people to disclose, period. Like, I think, like, and also, I just hate that we exist within a society where it's like, why do you care? And if you find out that someone is trans along the way, and it doesn't really impact like how you felt to begin. I don't get that. Oh my god, I saw actually the other day, that's going to be controversial for some of the people listening. I ask that you listen with an open heart and not with your mouth. Like, listen before you react or respond, please. And that's no shade. That's just honesty right there. But I saw this post the other day, and I understand. Let me say this, and I'm glad you're here because I would love to have your feedback on this because I was looking in the comment section of the video, and I guess like I'm a little controversial here, right? This lady was dating this guy for like a while, apparently, and they've known each other since they were kids. And they were
Mhm.
friends at first, and then they got into a serious relationship and they were seriously dating after like the span of a couple months. And she found out not through her boyfriend's family or her boyfriend's friends, but from like somebody else or from her boyfriend himself, like from somebody else that her boyfriend was actually trans. And she's like, we've been intimate. Like, I've been around his family. None of them have told me. Like, I've known him since we were like kids. Like, so I just feel betrayed right now. And while I will say I understand like feeling a sense of betrayal because your partner hid something like from you for a long time. In my mind, I was confused because it's like if you've been intimate with this person and you have no complaints in that department, if you've been romantically into this person for a long time and you've both been like faithful and like having a good time with each other, why does that suddenly change everything? And that's the
Mm.
part that like confuses me. But I do at the same time, I have to say and give space to like if somebody betrayed you, betrayal is a really strong word for me. But if somebody hid something from you that you felt like was important, I guess my first question is like, why is that so important to you if like it's not really interfering with the way that you two have been connected already? But like that's like me. Okay, I don't want to. Like I'm like if I found out that my partner was like half white or something, even though he's straight up nigga. Like I would, I mean, I would be like, oh, that's the type of thing you tell somebody, but like it doesn't really change much about who you are and how we've been dating so far, anyways. So I don't know. To me, that's how I look at it. But I know a lot of people view being trans as like this like alien thing when it's just like it's really not that deep to me. But I don't know. What's your opinion?
I mean, see, my first instinct would be like as a partner to just kind of ask, well, like why, we've known each other this long. Like I wouldn't be mad. I would kind of want to know like what made you like feel that you couldn't come to me and talk to me about it. Cause like it could be anything. And I think if you approach them with that, that like, I'm here for you, I love you, this and that. I just kind of want to know like, why you didn't feel comfortable telling me up front. And then you can have that conversation. But I never think that it's owed. And betrayal is a strong word, but I can understand someone being like, this is like a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
I would like to think that we're close enough to share big things with each other. So like that I can understand, but like as far as just you should have told me you were trans, just disclosure in general, I don't think we owe people that.
Yeah. Whew, child, this is I can see the comments now rolling across my screen. Y'all, please just open your mind to a different perspective if you have a different one that is. But if you
Mhm.
have a negative comment, please, like I say all the time, write it on a piece of paper, fold it up, put it under your pillow, and pray for a positive comment the next time before you leave it underneath of one of my videos. Please and thank you.
Mhm.
But
You know
yeah, I
what?
think
Mm. Also, no, if we're doing that, and like I said before, it's not my job to figure out why you want to fuck me. You approached me, so
period.
like, so you wanted to fuck me. Like, I'm not going to assume that like you thought I was cis. I mean, not a soul can clap, but still.
Right.
Then, like, and like on top of that, like I kind of want to. This whole thing kind of like I think this whole like disclosure thing rests on this idea that particularly trans women are like are deceiving men into having sex with us. Your nigga lies to you about everything else, but like this is the one thing that you trust him on. This is the one thing that and also like again, not to brag, but like, do I look like somebody who has to deceive people into fucking me? That's
Ooh,
not. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I kind of wish less men wanted to fuck me. And and then it's like just physically, like I try to imagine just like how just the mechanics of this works. So you had sex with somebody and you didn't feel like you just physically like how did you not feel that genitalia wasn't what you thought it would be. I don't understand like how you can have sex with someone and not see or feel that. Like I don't know, like it just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
So just all around, I just say people have to let that notion go.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. All around, like people have to let that like it's becoming it's come back into I guess public consciousness because of what's going on with T.S. Madison and D.L. Whisperer. Because like it started.
Girl, why he
Uh,
got locked up? Did you see that?
oh, he did.
Yeah, for felony stalking.
Fake opportunity, but also,
I'll turn around on this one. Sorry.
right.
I'll go march for somebody else, but shouts out to you though. Free, I'm not gonna say
That
free you, but like,
exactly. And it's like this whole thing, when I really think about like how it started and like how it like escalated, it really centered around many leaks being unable to like comprehend that like the same
mhm,
men that her also want to fuck T.S. Madison. And it's like, if it were me, I would think like, okay, I'm a bad bitch. You're also a bad bitch. Niggas like fucking bad bitches, and
see,
that's
oh
what
my
it is.
god, that's exactly it. Like, I think it's so ridiculous if your self esteem and self worth rest on feeling like you're better than other people. Because when it comes to men, a man will literally like a man likes what he like. A man, when he sees somebody, especially a baddie, he's gonna go after a baddie. Like you cannot be mad if other baddies are on a chopping block too. Also, there's so many different like identities that go into, or different factors that go into desirability politics, where people try to lean on these like systems of oppression to like mark themselves higher than other people in order to feel good. But the reality is, just because, for example, like when it comes to big booty, plus size women, it's men out here chasing them too. And I mean, like, we know the societal limitations, all of that, but them girls, every girl I know, every fat girl I know, she stays with the full roster. If she wants one, like that, I think in skinny girls, like I've seen this happen before, and it's no shade because it's not just women, it's the gays too. Okay, I've seen the skinny girls, and I say girls being like gender neutral here, but like I see the skinny girls constantly getting upset when they see the thicker girls get in play, and it's like, why are you mad for? And even with the gays, I don't know if you remember from last summer when when the super femme gay was like posted up with those two big masculine gays, and everybody was so mad at the femme gay, and it's like, y'all can't take. Yes, people want them too. Why is it? Because you built your whole life around trying to perform this fantasy of masculinity that you don't, to be attractive to other gays, that you don't even recognize that the femme gays get to be themselves and they get to be took down.
Exactly. And I will say that's one of the things that I am really happy to see. Cause I'm like, when I was coming up, like that shit was a no go. Like it was not. Nowadays, like I see like the most part, and even especially in Black, and to be actually, disclaimer, I was fortunate enough to come up in a community, like in a queer community that was Black. Like that was my default setting. So like a lot of Black, gay, and trans queer people will talk about coming up in an environment where like the only queerness that they knew was white. And so like, it was the white men that they learn their queerness through. I fortunately never had to deal with that. And in fact, it was very like no whites, like don't hit me up sort of thing, which, but glad like I was never one of those like, why won't a white man? Why won't a white man take me? I've never been one of those. But it was very, very masculine focused. And even though I'm no longer in that world now because I've transitioned, I'm still very, it does bring me a lot of joy to see that like that femininity isn't as much of like a stigmatized thing now.
It still
Um,
is. Hold on.
well, it is, but like
It's a little better.
But I mean, like in terms of like, I would see the most popular like page, like people that I know in the queer world. Like I see they're out in clubs and they're doing this and that. Like they've got like some femme in them. And like I feel like when I was coming up, like you wouldn't really see that.
You know.
Like it's not 100%, but like progress is being made. I went off on a tangent though. What were we talking about? Right when it comes to with DL Whisper, I left a comment on your last video, but like I actually want to kind of address it here. A lot of transphobia that we experience, I really kind of hate that so much of it revolves around men, but a lot of transphobia that we experience from gay people, specifically gay men, has to do with the fact that like we now have access to men that they don't have access to.
Really?
They get really
See,
upset about.
wait, because why is that low key? Low key gives that. Like,
Mhm.
please continue. I'm sorry. I'm being off.
No,
I'm
it's
being
fine.
messy.
It's fine because like I know like the trope of, and I think about this too before I transition, but like you would see like a fine ass man on the apps, and you go to his page, and he only wants to talk to a T
I've
girl,
seen that. I can verify that. Okay.
and it's like now it's kind of hard for me to like. uncouple that, like, what's going on with the BL Whisperer thing happening where it started because of, T.S. Madison's Desirability. And these, like, straight men wanting her because, like, it pisses off, cishet women, but it also kind of pisses off the femme gay men in a way. Not just femmes, but, like, I noticed it primarily with them, which my femme gay is down. I was
Mhm.
in a past life. It just worth men are
I
not
be
worth
saying
it.
it. Men are not a prize.
It is
I be
cheap and
trying to tell
abundant.
them.
It is cheap and it is abundant. We don't
Listen,
have to.
and I think you're really getting at something too that I think is super important. Like a lot of people's frustration comes in just adding on a little bit people who they want not wanting them back, but that even is
Mm,
highlighted and underscored and seeing people who you don't view as desirable being desired by those same people you want who don't want you back. That is, if you don't have high enough self-esteem, I could imagine why that would hurt you so bad. But like that cannot be how you shape your life in the way that you engage with and interact with the world and people who aren't doing nothing to you. That's just
right.
not fair. Meaning leaks. Sorry, I'm sorry. 40 and flip there, y'all.
And like I miss when that was like the peak of this. And then it just became this whole other thing. Like you weren't even in this. That's what I don't understand. Like you weren't even in this. Now you in jail. Like and that's it. There was another podcast actually that you know what? No, I'm sorry. No, it's not very relevant. But go ahead.
No, I think you're bringing up some really great points, and I hate that this whisperer of the DLs is even coming up so frequently because I did a whole episode on like the DL crisis that they're talking about. And frankly, a lot of people think that men who are interested in trans women are secretly gay. And it's like, no, I can tell you, I've met secretly gay niggas. I gotta stop saying the N word on here, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm working. I'm gonna try to do better in the future, but I've met secretly gay men, and they don't want the dolls. The men who want the dolls, and they want the women. I promise. I've seen it with my own eyes. But
I just have to think it's not tangentially related, but there is also like a certain kind of men who like only want like clocky girls. Like once you become like passable to like they don't fuck with you no more. And that
mm,
shit, like it was this one in particular. I won't say you by name, but once I like got, became this, he was not featuring it. And I was like, that's a thing. Like they want like clocky. Okay. But yes, clocky girls, love y'all down. Love y'all down. Love y'all down. Y'all deserve love.
that's something back, those backhanded compliment. But
No, no. I mean,
would
like,
you identify as a clocky girl if you're a clocky girl? Is that like a I don't know.
well, I mean, there are a lot of trans people who like they don't have the goal of like passing or they
Mm,
like they're kind of comfortable living in the space that they're in and like and they don't want to do any of the things like I just happen to already be like hyper feminine anyway. So my just general aesthetic kind of goes with who I already was. Like so when I say clocky, I get how it can come off as like backhanded compliment, but like it's really kind of I think kind of important to that people know that like no, like just because like a girl is not passable and doesn't even mean that she wants to be, but also like that girl like still deserves all of your respect, all of your love, all of your time, all of your attention, like all of that. Don't be nice to me if you're not going to be nice to, my
period.
sister that had the advantages that I've had.
Yeah, I think that like is something that's applicable like all across when it comes to desirability politics too, where it's like if you base how you treat people off of like your attraction to them or like how attractive you think they are, I think you're kind of weird. Like that's just my opinion. But like that's why I think men are just like not all men, I hate that I have to say that phrase, but a lot of men look at other people and only treat people like human beings if they're physically attracted to them. And that's why I just, again, I don't think men are a prize. Like, and I say this as somebody who dates men. Like, it's like, if, yeah, it could be very, like, to each his own. Like, get your life if you worship the ground they walk on. But, like, some of us just, like, can see the problems that arise with when it comes to them. But yeah, I think it's so interesting, like, when you have to kinda, like, come into, like, a new experience later in life, and you have to get comfortable, like, in a new identity and experience, and I think a lot of people just aren't aware, and I think conversations like this is how we get closer to that awareness, but transphobia is still everywhere, child, and it's rampant and it's picked up, and I will never understand why 1% of the population gets so much attention. And in my mind, it's just like the girls can't take the dolls, and it's really sad. They can't
They
take the
cannot
dolls.
they cannot take the dolls. One thing that I always try to remember, and I say this online too, where it's like whenever like transphobes, try to do whatever they're doing, I always think to myself and I say to them that we've already survived worse than this. So like you're never gonna be rid of us. Like never. And I was born, both of my parents are cishet. So, it's not like I was influenced or did
No.
anything, like I didn't need to be recruited. And it just doesn't make sense anyway, because like it just doesn't make sense.
Let me say this. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but transphobia is literally rooted in colonialism and anti-blackness. The reason why transphobia is pushed the way that it is, it can even be traced because I did a lot of research around this before when I was in my like in my queer studies class. But in the 1700s, it was in South America. This woman, trans woman, was arrested and jailed for being trans under those laws that the who was it? Child, let me Google it real quick because I wanna have the facts.
Mhm.
Okay. But it's like, hold on, because this is really important.
Yeah.
My goodness.
No, it's cool. It's cool. 'Cause now I want to know. I feel like that boots meme.
Oh, so it was this trans woman who was under colonial rule by, I believe, the British, who was arrested because she was trans. And they used that to enforce sodomy laws, which was used to reinforce the notion that colonization was okay because that the people who they were colonizing were these degenerates. But the reality is that trans people have existed everywhere around the globe, like long before the brutalization of, like, colonization and Christianity. But that's a longer conversation that a lot of people aren't prepared for, I'm sure. But yeah, like transphobia just does not make sense. It's like rooted in anti-blackness, anti-brownness, anti-indigeneity, anti-everything, right? But it's pro-colonization if you into that sort of thing. And I think people have been, their minds have been so warped that they don't understand how it connects to pretty much every other form of oppression. And when you support transphobia, you kind of reinforce your own oppression. I mean, look around. Like, we see it everywhere, right? Through the villainization of trans people, they have been able to pull back on women's rights. They've been able to pull back on the rights of other marginalized people, DEI, all of it. Like, all it takes is creating a boogeyman out of one of us for all of us to go down. But they don't get it, unfortunately.
Exactly. It's real, but like it's so like fake at the same time where it's like I again like I understand this is from a place of like being fortunate, but like I only experience transphobia online when I've disclosed that I'm trans, and then like people usually on Twitter or something like they come to transphobia. In real life, never. Like just doesn't happen, and I'm still trans, so it's like you're relying on, it's like you operate in your daily life and there could be trans people right alongside you. You don't know.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like you want to, it just doesn't make sense to me that like you still have this animosity for people who like you could potentially be around all day, every day, and you don't even know.
No, that's exactly it. I just to me, I don't understand being so wrapped up in like what the next person is doing. Like never in my life can I think of like just being so like sitting here in my house and just like being mad, like, oh my God, those people are changing their bodies. Dude, what the fuck I gotta do with me? Like, what does that have to do with the publicity in China? That'd be my question. What does that have to do with anything? Like, if somebody's not harming themselves, other people, or me, I don't care. Like, frankly, and it's just like very odd to me the hyperfixation, but child, like I said, the girls can't take the dolls, and that's just, and it's really pathetic to me. I will say this as like as a gay, when I come across other gays who are transphobic, it turns my stomach because it's like you have to be so ignorant to think that your gay ass, respectfully, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm gonna speak candidly, your gay ass ain't on the same chopping block, and like for you to like co-sign throwing like our siblings, our sisters, our brothers under the bus because you're insecure and you think that's not going to harm you, you've lost your mind. You've lost your marbles. It just like, if anything, it just like immediately I know that you're not the brightest person. No shade. Actually, yeah,
Exactly.
shade. All shade. But yeah, continue.
Like, it's self-destructive, and it's I think that a lot of it too is that, and I've kinda noticed this as I've gotten older and experienced, like, seeing, like, the generations after we kinda come up, I've noticed that, like, a lot of people, their their queerness or their, like, being gay, lesbian, whatever, that it's a lot more individualized
Mm,
as opposed to being a part of, like, the gay community. And I think you see that in like a lot of people who don't know like the history and don't know like why, certain people are present, why certain things happen, and how so many people see themselves as like separate from us. And it's like, no, we were at all the same marches and all the same protests and all the same like that y'all were at. And so y'all get the benefits first.
hmm.
And and then we get like a little bone thrown to us every so often if we're lucky. And I want to know that.
Yeah, a lot of queer people don't know queer history. I cannot emphasize to you enough how many people I've had to explain what Stonewall is to. It's like, how are you gay? Well, I do know how. Of course, our history is not like easily available or readily accessible to the average person because we live in a anti-queer society. But yes, Stonewall is something that you should know as a queer person because that is a huge part of like our history. And Stonewall was started by Black trans women and Black bush lesbians. And it's like, why can't you know? You need to know that history. And the reason why a lot of these gays like walk around like ignorant, spewing all this hatred towards like one another and our sisters is because they're ignorant. And it's like, how do we bridge that gap? I don't know because we have a education problem in this country in general. And the day we find out how to get the get the children who were left behind caught up, that'll be a really good day in this country. But as of right now, I just think it's so important for us to push back against those narratives and the people who benefit from like that hatred or who try to build platforms around like that hatred towards like other queer people. It's so ridiculous to me.
Exactly. There's so much, I feel like there's so much for us to accomplish as a coalition. And that's really kind of how I see the LGBT community,
Yeah.
that all this like infighting and stuff, especially particularly like when it's, against trans people, like it really one, I mean, like one, it's just self-destructive. And I really want like cis queer people to understand that. Like it's everything that they think about us, they think about you too. It's just, you know.
And they try to convince themselves otherwise. That's the more ridiculous part.
Right, and it's like, I also kinda wonder, like, how do you actually live life? Are you like when you go and, like, you send all this hate to the dolls and all this stuff, and then you walk past, like, a group of straight men, like, I know you feel that little, like, "Is today gonna be the day that I get hate crime?" Like, I know you and,
So
these people ain't your friend. Like,
they
we
are
your friend.
not your friends. Wait, like, what? Oh, don't get me started. But I will say another thing that I think is important is like queer media like needs to stop being like racist. Like that's another thing too, no shade. Like I think that's a huge issue too. Like there are limitations for black queer people, brown queer people who have like a more radical like lean, like those of us who aren't easy like how can I say this? We aren't cookie cutter, like no politic, like keeping it cute for the straights type of queers. And when we're not those type of queers, like there's a certain degree of like alienation from opportunity and from the visibility that a lot of like us have already sacrificed to be a part of it. Look, don't get me started. But I think it's like so it's such a hard time being multi-marginalized and it's just so unique from different perspectives like you have a different experience as a black trans woman as I have as a black non-binary gay like our experiences are different and but it all comes back down to like it being hard as fuck like what is up with that I can't child I can't yeah do you
I
have
don't
anything else you want to add before we switch sections
think so. I mean,
segments
I
sorry
talked about a million things, but, like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
What's one piece of advice you would give to baby Eve?
Tell myself to stand my ground when when I was 3, 4 years old and I told my parents I'm a girl and I told my classmates I'm a girl, I'm not they want to throw me the basketball. I'm not doing that. I'm a girl. Girls play basketball. I was a girl who did not play basketball. And to like hold the line on that. But also I would tell baby Eve, well, one, I would kind of just want baby Eve to like see like this is what you can become.
Period.
Like, right. But also like to not let if that same period comes where you're essentially forced to be a boy to still find a way to have joy in that, to not lose your confidence. I don't even know how to describe it. Like basically when I was little, like, before a lot of this stuff happened, like I just knew I was going to be a star. I was the center of attention. Everyone needed to stop and like see me like reenact a scene or sing a song or do something like that. And I lost that along the way because of course a lot of the ways that I
Mm,
expressed myself was feminine. So like that was kind of like redirected or like snuffed out. And I would really tell my younger self to like still keep that. Like don't lose that because like that is a great thing to have. People spend their lives like trying to find that confidence and like you already had it. So like and I'm glad that I have it again, but like it took me a lot of work, a lot of unnecessary work to get back to it. So I would definitely make sure that my younger self, once stands your ground to like still finds the joy even like if you're not able to do things the way that you want to. And also, mom.
shouts out to the moms. And
Oh,
on that note, let's go to our next segment, which is Ask Dr. Durag and Friends. And the question I have for you today, because you are so politically like just like sound and witty, you do not play like I said, and you should not play. But this question is for today's Ask Dr. Durag and Friends. Is it healthy to stay in relationships if your ethical, political, and sociological views and values don't align?
what's the financial situation like?
T, I mean,
See, like I'm so sorry. I will tolerate a little bit more for you know,
a little bit more.
for a little bit more. Then once I get, some more of the surgeries that I want, then we can maybe talk about the divorce. But seriously though, like to be honest, that's not something that I've really thought about a lot because just my dating preference anyway is black men. So like I'm not likely to run across like racism or, stuff like that. Like, it might be some like transphobia and everything. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Is it healthy to stay in relationships if your ethical, political, and sociological values don't align? You want me to go? I can go.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
my opinion, listen, there is varying degrees of misalignment. And I think one of the problems we have as a society sometimes is we think in black and white. But if you're dealing with somebody or in a relationship with somebody and you're like someone who believes in human rights and the person you're dating is a part of the I hate human rights party, there's a disconnect there. There are some forms of misalignment that just can't be came center to, and you have to be able to gauge and balance out what are the differences. Like if you're somebody who's like, I am gonna donate to PETA, and they're like somebody who's like, I'm gonna donate to UNICEF, like you both still care about like the rights of living beings. Like it's when those values are so misaligned to the point where they impact you or other people who are marginalized that you should be concerned. Politics and the whole idea of like not staying away from people just because they have differing politics, the only people who are concerned about that and think that it's ridiculous not to be associated with people who have politics that are harmful are people who have politics that are harmful. Like the only people who want protection from like facing the consequences of having politics that impact other people negatively are the people who have politics that impact people negatively. They don't want to suffer the consequences of harming other people, alienating themselves from other people, wanting other people to be pushed further to the margins of society. And it's up to you whether or not you want to be dumb enough, because I'm going to say it, to stay in a situation like that. But if somebody is viewing you as less of a human being, because if they view them as less of a human being, I promise they feel the same way about you. But if you want to stay with somebody who views you as less of a human being, and if it's worth it, that's up to you. But I do think it does depend. It's a case by case situation because if you are financially dependent, get you some coin first. Why not? Rob them blind.
Yes, I'm always in favor of robbing men. But I also like this kind of reminds me. Actually, like I gave like maybe like a more serious answer. It's like this kind of reminds me of. Do you remember when was it like a year ago when Laverne Cox was talking about how
Yes, the
she
cop.
dated, yeah, Amanda Cop, and I was very very lenient on her about it because like it is definitely unhealthy. But I also when I really thought about it was like I remember in one comment section I asked like, okay, of all the people here who are commenting, how many of you date trans women? Like not just fuck them, not just this and that. How many of you date trans women? And what is like do you feel this person loves you? Like when Laverne was talking, I felt like she really felt that that man loved her. And who am I to like take that away from her? You know? So like I would never advise, of course, like dating a MAGA cop. We're not doing that. Please break up with a girl, dump him. You remember the Britney shirt,
Yeah.
dump him. Definitely. I,
Mm.
I
You bring up some good points.
but like I do make sure that like I'm still looking at it and being sympathetic to the person who, you know,
Yeah.
doesn't have like the power and the privilege in that relationship too. I still think that
Yeah.
is important. You don't want to make them feel shunned or anything like that because then like they're isolated and they're gonna stay.
I did not enjoy the way that people were coming at Laverne, like, because Laverne was getting jumped from all angles, and like me personally, would I be dating a Republican or a police officer? Period. No, but I think the way in which they came down so hard was a reflection of how easy it is to target somebody who's already on the margins of society. Like, I believe that Black trans women, especially, deserve a lot of grace. That I just like, I don't understand why it was such a like like people were cracking down. I was like, damn, y'all jumping her. Like, get off my sister. Like, I didn't get the harshness of which people were like reflecting on it. And plus, like, I mean, like, shit, it already happened. What the fuck we supposed to do? Turn back the clock? It just,
Yeah, actually, now you're right, because she was talking about a past relationship. She wasn't
yeah,
still with him. Like,
no.
yeah,
Some
they were
years
doing
ago, if I'm not mistaken.
like, yeah, like y'all are doing a lot. But yeah, that just but yeah, definitely not healthy. But you know,
You make
give
some good
yourself
points.
fine. Yeah, give yourself some grace if you find yourself in that situation and try to find community still. Someone to have your back so you're not stuck in that situation.
And you know what? Thank you, because you just like pulled me back into more nuance, because I appreciate when that can happen, because I was definitely like, you're stupid. And you're like, have some grace. And that's word to community, y'all. This is how we help each other to grow and learn. All right. So our next segment, though, this is my like probably my favorite segment. It's called "What's Your Anthem," and it's where you share a song, a piece of media, anything that is helping you to stay sane in this very chaotic world that we're living in. Like, what's a song or a movie or something that's your anthem getting you by?
I have my entire playlist on Spotify. Listen, it was a year subscription, but I have a whole playlist called Eve's Healing Cunty, and I it's just all like cunt anthems. But the first one on there is Kevin Prodigy. Your breast so soft, stomach is flat, the nose is cut. Like I feel that every day. I'm like, bitch, yes. It's like I almost have like the opposite of body dysmorphia, where it's like I look past the mirror and like I could be looking like whatever, but I'm just like, yes, bitch. Like you are letting them
Exactly.
have it. Yeah, I really hope everybody can like feel that, like at some point. But yeah, that song, other song, and I don't remember the name of the artist. You might know it. It's the Ask Daddy Want to See It from the Back. This pussy great.
Yes. Everybody back, back,
Yes.
back, back, back.
Yeah.
Yo, the Nola bounce, I'm telling you, yeah, every time.
Like you could not feel good listening to that song. So shout out to you. Actually, let me look up.
My anthem for this week is All Things Solange. I was listening to Junie earlier from A Seat at the Table, and I quoted it in a therapy session because one of my clients was just like feeling like, oh, I don't see the purpose, wanted to skip past life. And I was like, you want to be the teacher, but you don't want to go to school. You got to go to school, baby. I'm so sorry. You can't skip past the work that is required to get to the outcome you desire. And a lot of the girls don't want to hear that, but it's the journey. Shouts out to Miley again, Miley Cyrus. She came up on this
And
podcast.
Teacher Campbell. It's about the journey.
It's about the journey. It's the journey.
It's the journey.
You stop. All right, so yeah, we are coming into our last segment. Our last segment is the toolkit, and this is where you share something in your mental health toolkit that is helping you to maintain, to keep going. I will say, like, this is one of my favorite segments too. I know all of my segments are my favorite segments. Don't come in here telling me I say that about everyone. But I do want to hear, like, from you, like, what's something in your mental health toolkit, because this is how we add to each other's toolkits, something that is helping you to stay afloat, something that helps you to ground yourself. It could be anything, it could be a book, it could be a method that you practice, but what helps you out? What's in your mental health toolkit that you can give to the people?
One thing that I've really kind of let go of and that's really helped me in my like mental health toolkit, is kind of letting go of like false modesty and like false like humility, where like you're kind of discouraged from your talking good about yourself, or and that's really helped me because now like I get to say to myself, I'm fine as fuck, I'm this, I'm that, and it's contributed to me like believing it and to living my life that way. And I really want people out there, I know like there's a lot of tendency, because I used to do it too, to like self-deprecate. And And I kind of think it's almost discouraged. I mean, not, it's almost encouraged in a way where people, because the people think that that's humility, but like, just brag, find something you like and just brag about it,
Oh my
you know?
God. That's great advice. Let me say this to quote the great philosopher, one of the greatest philosophers of our time, Rihanna Robin Fenty. It's so hard to be humble, okay? It's don't shrink yourself for other people. My contribution to the toolkit this week is actually going to be I just been really getting into like a real old school, like run of the mill YouTube guided meditation. They just like honestly, YouTube University really is everything to me. I did a one about anxiety the other day that really helped. And you know, use it with your own discretion and discernment, y'all. But like if you want to get into some free healing, a guided meditation on YouTube will do it for me every time. It turns it up, right? Because you can't do therapy every day. But yeah, that is it. That concludes our episode today. Steve, thank you so much for coming. Honestly, chatting with you is always a hoot. Tell the people, first off, do you have anything else you want to tell the people? And then after you tell them whatever you have to tell them, then tell the people where they can find you.
There's so much, there's honestly, there's so much that I want to say because I can ramble, I can talk. So you just follow me, Adam and Eve's written right here. And I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky, and I have a TikTok still, but I don't really use it until the government gets their act together. And yeah, don't be silent. You know, be heard, be loud, be proud, be cunt.
Be cunt. Y'all heard that here first, y'all. Be cunt. Eve, thank you so much. And to my collective that's listening, thank you for all the support. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. And please remember that you are doing so much better than you know. Thank y'all for tuning in again. Bye.
Bye.